So events resulting into provisions. So let's look at it. First, warranties. You know warranty, right? You buy a Samsung device, warranty is 24 months for, African countries. You buy a Techno device, 12 plus 1 month. So that warranty creates a present obligation, because it means when the device is faulty, there's a software problem, the company will be under obligation to what? Do it. And that could be a legal thing because of a contract you have signed, or constructive because of the expectations you've created, or because of the policies on your website. So warranties meet the recognition criteria, hence we provide for it. But you need to be careful. At what point do we make the provision? Immediately we sell the goods, when goods are sold. Because once the customer receives the goods, the liability has been created. And if there is a fault, the customer comes and we repair it for the customer. That's the idea about that. Onerous contracts or onerous contract, depending on the kind of school you attended and the teacher who taught you how to pronounce things. Onerous contract or onerous contract. Onerous contract, I will prefer that one to onerous. What is onerous contract? What kind of thing is that? But, we all went to different schools. Now, the idea of the onerous contract is like a one-time event that occurs which results into a loss. Let me give an example. So let's say that I'm a builder, I'm a contractor generally, and I build houses, okay? So let's say that a 5-bedroom house, I build it and I charge whatever the heck, let's say $5 million. That's what I charge. The reason I charge $5 million for a 5-bedroom house is because the contract value is $5 million. I expect that for the 5-bedroom house with all the specs, swimming pool, car park, and all the things, I'm going to incur a total cost of somewhere around maybe $4.2 million. So at the end of the year, I know that I'll go home and go and chill with $800 million at the end of the day. That is my job. That is what I do. But then someone calls me, maybe Mingle calls me, and Mingle said, oh, Nhyira, I got some money and bought some land, and so come build a house for me around somewhere. Then he said, okay, I want a 5-bedroom house. I said, okay, yeah, Mingle, if you want a 5-bedroom house, the quote is $5 million. Then Mingle said, no problem, $5 million. But we go to Mingle's site and we realize that the land is a marshy area. It's a waterlogged area. So we would have to then drill some pipes and drill some, pillars into the ground to be able to build the kind of house that Mingle wants us to build. So even though we are charging Mingle $5 million, if we look at the things that are on the land and what we need to do to actually get Mingle's house to be how it is, the total cost now will be like $7.5 million. It means on this Mingle's deal, instead of profit, we are expecting to lose $2.5 million. But this is the deal. We don't want Mingle to get excited and say, we don't want Mingle to say, oh, Mingle, you didn't tell us your land is like this. If you had told us, we wouldn't have charged you $5 million. The Mingle will start insulting us and say, hey, Ghanaian companies there, sir. You said $5 million. Now I'm ready. You are saying that my land. Didn't you know about that before? So we want to please Mingle, because when we satisfy him, he will make various recommendations for us. So it is an expected loss due to the work we expect to do on Mingle's project. Such kinds of losses, which is one time in our operation, is what is referred to as onerous contract. And IAS 37 requires that we can provide for it in our books. That is the idea about that. Now, the reason I'm emphasizing on this one is because if it is future operating losses, it doesn't meet the criteria, so we don't provide for it. So if the entity sees that and say that the way the economy is, 2024, we will make a loss of $2.5 million. 2025, we'll make a loss of $6 million. That one, you can't recognize it because future operating losses do not meet the recognition criteria. But onerous contract is one-time event, one-time assignment we are undertaking, which is resulting into a loss. Hence, we make provision for it. That is the idea about that. Next, major repairs. So the entity buys an asset and is expected to make a major repairs. Note that major repairs by default do not meet the recognition criteria. So major repairs will not be provided for because it doesn't meet the criteria. So no provision is required. So for instance, an entity says that, oh, we've bought an asset. Every 2 years, we will upgrade the asset. Who cares about that? You said you want to upgrade the asset. So you want to upgrade it. There is no present obligation, so you don't provide for it. However, in certain industries, major repairs are part of a legal requirement. Like if you look at the airline industry, railway industry, there are laws about when you have to change your cabin, okay? When you have to change your engine or upgrade a certain part of the airplane or a component of the airplane. So if the major repair has a legal requirement, it's as part of legal requirements, then that legal requirement means there is a present obligation. So what we're gonna do, we provide for it. So if the question is quiet, major repairs, it doesn't meet the recognition criteria, au revoir, messieurs, no provision is going to be recognized. But if the entity operates in an industry where they are required, the regulator requires that these major repairs must be done, then the entity is under obligation, hence we provide for it in the books. That is the idea about major repairs. Next, environmental costs. We've already spoken about that, right? So you provide for it. Restructuring costs or restructuring. Restructuring has to do with changing the structure and operations of the company. So the company said, hey, we are tired. The way the economy is going, we are changing our operations. We are restructuring the company. Can we make provision for that? There is a requirement for it. Before we can make provision for restructuring, there is a recognition criteria that must be met. One, the entity must have a detailed, formal plan for the restructuring. So it's not just a word of mouth. Oh, we want to restructure and we incur cost of this, so we restructure. No, there must be a detailed, formal plan. And in the question, you must identify it. Or two, it must raise valid expectation by its action in those to be affected. So what the heck does that mean? So if the company is undertaking a restructuring, for instance, people will become redundant, okay? These people who become redundant must be paid in the name of what is called severance payments. We have to cancel some contract with suppliers or with customers. That cancellation of contract with suppliers or customers may result into some payments to them. Then the main restructuring that we are doing, we have to pay some people to do that. So the cost of the restructuring itself, the expenses that we are going to be incurring, apart from the redundancy and the contract cancellation cost that we are going to be paying. The question we are asking is, can you provide for these? The answer is yes, if the entity, one, has a formal plan. Two, the entity has raised expectation, meaning that the people who are expected to be losing their job, you have announced it, you have informed them about it, and they know about it. The suppliers and customers whose contract will be canceled, we have informed them about it. So if there is no formal plan, neither have the people who are going to be affected been informed about the restructuring plan, then any restructuring cost cannot be provided for. Last one, self-insurance. Also not something we provide for. The idea of self-insurance is pretty simple. What does that mean? You know that when you pay insurance premium and nothing happens in the year, scanash. Do you understand? So you lose the money. Right now, a couple of insurance companies have brought some policies where you can get 15% off your premium at the end of the year if something doesn't happen. I think it's a strategy that they are using so people will come and insure with them. And I think it's a great strategy because at least if I'm getting 15% of how much I paid because nothing happened, at least I can socket myself some way, somehow. That's good. But this is the deal. Many a time people pay insurance and nothing happens. So they realize that, oh, they are making the insurance companies rich. So the company will say that, oh, they will set up an investment fund, okay, to be managed by Nhyira Premium Investments. Don't want to go and call any investment company for we're going to get troubles. Nhyira Premium Investments. Then into that investment fund, every year they will be putting some money there. Then they will classify it as, oh, it's an investment fund that a company will use to or will liquidate in case an event occurs to finance it. The question is there any event now? No. There is no present obligation. So that self-insurance that the company has done, if anything, is an investment. So account for it in accordance with IFRS 9 as a financial asset. Don't bring in IAS 37 provisions. So self-insurance doesn't meet the recognition criteria, so we don't provide for it. And these are some events that may or may not call for provisions.